Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing New.
Fanboys, be advised, this video contains the absolute truth, may cause hurt feelings, and a need to thumbs down the video. Vergil Ortiz is chasing greatness in 2021. He wants Terence Bud Crawford. And look, let's just break it down honestly and objectively as possible. And according to Lance Pugmire, he stated that he was told by Bob Arum that these guys had a meeting with Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy, and they discussed some cross-promotional fights. And one particular fight that was mentioned was Terence Crawford versus Vergil Ortiz. That would be an excellent fight. It would be a huge fight. It would get the boxing world buzzing. I mean, you would have a young fighter going for greatness against a top pound-for-pound elite fighter currently. It would be massive. And not only that, this is what Oscar De La Hoya had to say about Vergil Ortiz. He said Vergil Ortiz will beat anyone at 147 pounds right now. I believe Vergil Ortiz is on the verge of becoming a superstar. Vergil is on the verge of a breakthrough. I believe Vergil is right there ready to dismantle anyone at 147 pounds. So he has a lot of faith in Vergil Ortiz, as he should. Vergil Ortiz has shown flashes of brilliance, flashes of elite power and skill. He's training out at Robert Garcia's boxing academy, and he's literally developing nicely. And his next fight is already scheduled with Maurice Hooker, which is going to be an excellent step-up fight for him as well. So you see, Vergil Ortiz only wants to take on challenges. And you know what? Not only that, this would be a great fight for both fighters, because Vergil Ortiz is also the WBO number 2 ranked welterweight contender. So he's a bona fide, certified top 10 level fighter at the welterweight division, the number 2 contender for the WBO. So it makes so much sense for both of these guys to get it on, especially since Terence Bud Crawford seems to be having a lot of problems with finding an opponent and a price point to make work. So this could be a great avenue for Terence Crawford to get a fight that would be extremely intriguing. And not only that, you see, it's a good fight for both fighters, to be honest. I mean, look at Vergil Ortiz and how it works for him. Vergil Ortiz may be young, but he's not going to be an easy opponent for Terence Crawford. He represents a much bigger and harder challenge than the washed Kell Brook did in his fight with Terence Crawford. Not only that, Terence Crawford would also benefit by being able to display his talent and skills to an entirely new audience. Both guys can benefit from this type of event. Not only that, even if Vergil Ortiz lost this fight, the loss wouldn't hurt him. He would have an opportunity to face an elite pound-for-pound undefeated world champion in Terence Crawford, which could ultimately develop him as a fighter and make him better for years to come. This is a win-win for both fighters. And and not only that, there's 2 wild cards for the fight, because not to say that this is a done deal by any means, because both guys have a legitimate chance in this fight. But we already know that Terence Crawford would be the heavy favorite, but there are 2 wild cards. One, Terence Bud Crawford is not invincible. We've seen him dropped by a certified top 10 level fighter in Mean Machine. Mean Machine dropped him in their fight, and if he can catch him and drop him, there's always the potential that Vergil Ortiz can. And the reason why I say that is Vergil Ortiz has a 100% knockout rate. The guy is 16-0 with 16 knockouts, boasting a 100% knockout rate. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to knock out Crawford or anything like that, but it does mean he has shown significant power in the fights that he has had with that level of competition. And Terence Bud Crawford was dropped by a top 10 level fighter. In boxing, anything can happen. We truly don't know how great Vergil Ortiz is. We don't know how strong he truly is, because he's never faced anyone this level before. But all those questions will be answered if these guys make this fight. It's a great fight. It's an intriguing fight. In the end, I would favor Terence Bud Crawford to beat Vergil Ortiz. I mean, if you just look at all the breakdown of the fight, you see that he's the more experienced fighter. He's the pound-for-pound fighter. He's the proven elite fighter. And he's truly a great fighter in all respects. I have to give Terence Bud Crawford all the credit in the world. But at the same time, the fight is far from being decided, because you also know that we don't know how good Vergil Ortiz is, and with his power, he always has a chance to surprise you. Anything is possible when you chase greatness. Just look at Teofimo Lopez. But once again, honest and unbiased as always, it's the IBFP.